Why most investors never build real wealth. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the habits, some of the processes to actually really build wealth and really get ahead and what you can do. So it's probably a good video for somebody who's maybe trying to get into investing, build wealth. Very basic video. We're going to break down how to do it. Not financial advice. Do your own work. Thank you very much. So people focus on investing before building cash flow. So if you've got no money, you've got no job, you need to just focus on gaining money and getting cash flow. It's the engine. Investing without cash flow is like building a house with no foundation, right? You want to be earning some sort of money to then we worry about investing, right? You don't want to do, okay, cool, I've just finished university, I've just got my degree, I'm going to just become an investor, or I've got $5 grand, I'm going to be a full-time day trader. It's not realistic. You're better off saying to yourself, how can I have an extra $5 grand saved at the end of the year and maybe, do some investing with an extra 10 hours a week I've got, for example, or maybe on an evening do an hour bit of work here and there. Focus on cash flow before investing. You're going to thank yourself for that because you're going to have more money at the end of the day. So compounding only works if you leave it alone. So if you're somebody, and this all depends on your goals, right? Like you could be somebody who fills you've got a lot of money, you fill your trading account, say if you're a bit more active trader, you fill your account with, I don't know, $500,000. If you get 50%, you live off that and you just rinse and repeat, right? That could be it. But if you're maybe, I don't know, you've got a 100 grand account and you get a 50% return and then you try and live off that, next year you're off 100 grand. And then next year you can maybe have a down year. And then you've lost money in that long run. So you want to not touch the investment money. You want to let it compound. You want to let it grow. You want to, yes, you want to decide what your goals are. I think that's probably what you want to do first. Ideally, you live off your cash flow and you let investments, work in the background. But find out what your goals are. Okay, you could say to yourself, I've got 100 grand. If I earn 50%, I'm going to spend 10 grand on that on a lovely holiday for my family. Great, then do that, right? Find out what your goals are, stick to them, and that's really where and what you want to do. I think just find out what your goals are, stick to them, and you'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, if your goal is to build your portfolio up, you can't be living off it. You need to be living off cash flow from your job. So changing strategy kills compounding. So got an example here, crypto's the future, they buy everything, crypto's dead, they sell everything, stocks are overvalued, they move to property. You're just flip-flopping. You need to stick to something, I would say minimum 2 to 3 years, and just do that. That could be, okay, cool, I work this job, I'm not a massive fan of it. On a night, I'm going to, create YouTube videos. I'm going to start learning to sell stuff online, whatever it may be. And then just do it for 2 years. And then in 2 years' time, you may have not made the money, but you'll be in a much better position, right? So that's what you want to focus on. Pick something, 2 years, 3 years, wherever it may be, and just compound, grow, and keep going. That's what you really want to focus on, right? So don't be changing strategy. Don't be a flip-flopper. Stick to something, it will work. Everything works over time, but you just need to stick with it. Investors are anything. You need to niche down. Most people are experts at very few things. We've got Bill Ackman here and Warren Buffett. I was listening to the Bill Ackman, Lex Freeman podcast yesterday. Got some good ideas off that. It's he's got his principles. Warren Buffett has his principles. Bill Ackman is a value investor and he's also an activist investor, and that's it. That's all he does. Warren Buffett invests in really strong, durable companies over the long time that are indestructible. They have their processes, so you need to create yours. Don't think, I'm not Bill Ackman, I'm not Warren Buffett, I'm not George Soros, I'm not these people. You need to say to yourself, okay, cool, what are my principles? What do I want to actually get out of investing? Do I want to have a retirement goal? Do I want to buy something really nice? Whatever it may be, and then you can sort of, okay, cool, right, that's what I want to get out of investing. I want to create some freedom for myself. Okay, cool, what are my processes? I have my own principles, I have my own processes of doing things, right? And I stick to them religiously. And what you find when you actually stick to your own process and create your own processes that work for you, you start to get really good results and you start to generate alpha, which is very individualistic to you, right? So have your own processes. I recommend picking 2 to 3 areas, learn them deeply and ignore everything else. I don't know anything about property. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about that. And don't discourage learning something new. Don't think, okay, cool, I'm going to go on this and, be blindsided. You just want to think, okay, cool, these are my principles. Could this add value? Like I mainly trade Bitcoin, the NASDAQ and gold. So I say to myself, okay, cool. What could add diversification to that? I've actually been looking at 2-year node futures. That could maybe add some diversification because when Bitcoin and the Nasdaq tend to drop, they tend to do quite well. Okay, cool, nice. How can I, make that a bit better? And you see, so I'm sticking to the same principles, but if something can positively add to it, and there's good viable reasons, and I've done some research into it, it's like, okay, cool, maybe I'll add to it. But you don't want to flip flop. You want to have a niche. I believe they say in America, the riches are in the niches, because they call it a niche. We call it a niche, but whatever. Have your processes, have your principles, and stick to them. So diversification, or you're diversified in opportunity, but you could be spread too thin. So this was something from that podcast again. So just want to put this in as well. Like, you can be too diversified. So kind of going back to that, picking a couple areas. It's the same with investing, right? We've all seen that person with that crypto wallet with 50 coins, or that stock portfolio with, 15 different index funds. I believe Bill Ackman said after about 12 assets, you actually lose diversification edge. So, you don't want to be owning too many things. You want to own a couple things, or do a couple things and get really good at them. You want diversification in opportunity. Like I mentioned earlier with the 2-year future, 2-year node futures. Is that another diversification in opportunity that can add to it? But I'm not, looking at 50 different things to trade at a given time. I have a process where I can look at as many things as possible, but with the less work as possible, right? So diversified, yes, you want to be diversified, but you do lose alpha, you do lose edge after an iteration of it. So I wanted to just throw this in just to kind of explain that, because you'll be hearing things like diversification and all that stuff. You're probably better off, just buying an index fund, right? If you want to be truly diversified. So things to consider: build cash flow first, pick a lane, stick to it, have a process, and repeat. And that's it. That's all you need to do. I think probably before 1, so you could do like 0. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? Okay, cool, right. I want to have $1 million in the bank by 50. Okay, cool. Work backwards. What can I do? Okay, cool. Build cash flow. If I save this much each year, do this. If I work my way up in this company, I could be earning this much. Okay, cool, blah, blah, blah. That's what you need to do. Have a process, rinse, repeat, and you'll be absolutely fine. All the data reference is here, and I also run a free newsletter, so please go check that out, and I will see you in the next one.